This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive. Featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Good morning. Welcome back to Investment Perspectives, everybody. I'm Brad Kimes. You can follow me at Twitter at Backup Bradley on the screen above, and all the information we're going to talk about here. So we're going to play a short little clip from Chris Larsen from yesterday. We're going to talk about a little quick clip that Mickey B shared also from Brad Garlinghouse real quick. And then we're going to talk about some bank news in Brazil, and then a little company that is attached to that I think has important implications. Okay, so let's start with this. This is a quick clip from Chris Larsen. I don't mind telling you that this is a call to action, as they say. Let's check this clip out right here.
But the U.S. government also needs to get a lot more involved in blockchain. We're slow to the game. China is so far ahead of us. You know, they just announced they're going to spend $1.4 trillion on technology. Payments and blockchain clearly part of that strategy. You could even argue the move to control Hong Kong more closely gives them an advantage in controlling two of the global financial centers. U.S. only has one, right? So the U.S. it's got to change its view that goes from 17 and 18, which was all about these horrible ICOs. Initial coin offerings, which were terrible, had to be shut down. They effectively shut them down. We won that war. Now we got to switch to, okay, how do we compete with China? How do we keep up? And, you know, till now, frankly, U.S. regulators have actually helped China by officially giving clarity to the two protocols effectively controlled by Chinese miners, Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's a mistake.
Very, very powerful words from Chris Larsen here, not only to a call to action for the United States, but, you know, really calling out Bitcoin and Ethereum's mining base, and how, you know, we've all heard, you know, David Schwartz talk about the best incentive is no incentive. And these mine cryptocurrencies really have a flaw within the design itself, and that's because the miners are incentivized to make money for themselves, whether it's staking or proof of work, and it's problematic. It's problematic for scaling. So just absolute call to action from Chris Larsen on that. Now let's go to a clip from the Ripple Drop with Brad Garlinghouse. Let's listen to what he says here for the next 30 seconds or so. So let's listen to this.
Draft, but look, we certainly at Ripple want to be cognizant of how the market evolves. We need to be more prudent about business decisions, but we also will probably, because of the strength we're coming from, look at how do we strategically grow the business, and, you know, look at deals, look at investments, even potentially acquisitions in the coming.
Potentially acquisitions. Well, I have to tell you, you know, this is interesting because we know that at some point they do intend to IPO. Might we see another acquisition before they actually go to the IPO? I know myself and a lot of other people are curious to whether they'll IPO sooner rather than later, and that certainly could still happen. But, you know, with statements like that, you have to say, well, maybe they plan on making an acquisition before they go ahead to the IPO. And who knows? I mean, we've had this talk before in January or so after Brad's first original comments addressing the IPO. You know, R3 is somebody they were partnered with in the early days, and then they certainly, you know, had to go to court and separate that partnership. But that would be an acquisition that nobody would be surprised about. However, you know, knowing that R3 is connected directly to Swift and their GPI system, you know, and obviously, just for those that don't know, you know, they have a Corda platform that companies can build on, and then inside the Corda platform, there is a Corda settler, which is a payment settlement option that uses the digital asset XRP for that settlement option, should they choose the Corda settler. So if they were to acquire a company like R3, it would be one of the greatest Trojan horse moments in financial history in my eyes. I mean, to put it simply, if they acquire R3, they're directly connected to SWIFT at that point for settlement. And I don't know how shocking something like that would actually be, knowing that Ripple has joined the ISO Standards Body Committee as the only blockchain DLT company on that committee, specifically to implement distributed ledger technology. So not like it would be a great stretch, but this gets interesting whether we'd see another acquisition before an IPO or an IPO first. It's so exciting. I absolutely love watching it. Okay, let's move to the next piece of news. Let's go to Brazil now. Shout out to Einstein MC Squared on this one here. Brazilian bank joined hands with Chainalysis, steps up crypto compliance. Chainalysis is a crypto compliance company, for those who don't know. Michael Moiser was at the U.S. Treasury. He left there, went to Chainalysis, helped them develop the compliance to be in agreement with the international FATF guidelines, which is Know Your Transaction, Know Your Customer, AML, KYC, travel rule. Michael Moiser got all of that straight, connected several government agencies there, and then recently, in the last 2 or 3 months, returned back to the United States Treasury Department with a new title as Deputy Director of Digital Innovation. So I think he did a good job. Now, here's the other important thing about this, because this is a very, very cool thing. Let's just read this really quickly. It's a short little piece. Let me read this to you. Things are heating up for crypto users in Brazil, where commercial banks Banco Tapazio has announced it will be using monitoring and transaction tracking solutions provided by blockchain security firm and data analyst specialist Chainalysis to monitor the crypto services it provides to its clients. In a Chainalysis press release, the company stated that they would use the security firm's software for compliance-related purposes in Banco Tapazio's business operations. The bank appears to be looking to get the head start on the forthcoming regulatory change, with the press release's author writing of the need to establish best practices ahead of the enforcement of FATF guidelines, which the deadline was yesterday, right? So this is a very real thing to these companies, these banks and exchanges. They are obviously responding to this, knowing how important it is. The bank will also launch KYT, Know Your Transaction, KYC, Know Your Customer protocols. The bank stated that the move would help it validate customers' activity through the monitoring and analysis of their transactions, all publicly registered on the blockchain. Banco Tapazio is one of Brazil's newest banks, and like many banks set up in the past 20, 30 years in the country, has no brick and mortar outlets, with all of its processes fully digitized. It is one of the more crypto keen of Brazil's banks, and in February this year announced a partnership with America's Ripple, becoming part of the latter's Ripplenet network. However, Brazilian banks and crypto have been uneasy bedfellows for much of this year. As previously reported, the biggest 100% government-owned financial institution in Latin America and one of Brazil's big three biggest banks reportedly froze the accounts of multiple crypto traders within the space of 10 days earlier this month. Many of the country's leading crypto exchanges are also still involved in a bitter legal struggle against banks who they say arbitrarily suspended their banking operations in 2018-2019. So things are still getting sorted out, but what you see here is Bank Tapazio taking the high road and saying, listen, we want to show in good faith before we're even told to. Obviously, the FATF guidelines are the recommendation here, but they're taking in good faith the steps towards saying, look, we want to be compliant no matter what, whether we're a brick and mortar or not, and they are not. So do not forget really quickly that Banco Rendimento is a different bank that has also joined Ripplenet. We covered that as well. They've also joined Ripplenet as well. So this is exciting what's happening in Brazil. Now, the other thing that's exciting here is this company Chainalysis, okay? Chainalysis is important, like I told you and explained to you. And the reason it's important because in this 2019 October article from CoinDesk, Ethan Beard in this article talks about Xspring and the things that are going on. And in the bottom of this article, it says, furthermore, Chainalysis is adding the XRP-Ledger to its blockchain analytics product. I can't stress this enough. I have talked about this quite a bit since October of 19. And this is important because Chainalysis has added the XRP Ledger to its blockchain analytics product. Now, I find that to be extremely, extremely interesting, which in my mind, unless I understand it wrong, means that anybody Chainalysis is working with for compliance is using the XRP Ledger to put the transactions across to scan them. So this gets pretty exciting, I have to say. The more we can find out, the better, obviously. But to me, things are moving forward even when they seem that they're not. But I say this, I don't think that Chris Larsen is out here wasting his time making a call to action for nothing. You know, the digital dollar on June 30th, in just 5 days, will be having Christopher Giancarlo will be in a congressional hearing again for the second time to talk about the implementation of the digital dollar. I certainly believe that correlates with the expansion of the digital asset space as soon as they can get that into play. So shout out to everybody. Chris Larsen, certainly glad he's feeling better from the COVID. And anybody else out there has been dealing with all of this during the self-quarantine time. I hope you're holding strong. Hit the like and subscribe, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.